Charlie Tyrrell is a young, aspiring Canadian film director who produces documentaries, short films, commercials, and music videos. These are largely released online as to reach a larger audience beyond that of the festival film circuits. He has a very visually engaging style in which he frequently blends live-action footage, humour, and playful stop-motion animation. In his fourth documentary, irresistibly titled My Dead Dad's Porno Tapes, Tyrrell explores his relationship with his emotionally distant father through the possessions he left behind after his death. According to Bill Nichols' Matrix on modes of documentary film, the documentary has qualities of both expository and performative. It is expository in that the third-person narration does a lot of the explaining and is supported by visual images and interviews. It is not, however, in any way didactic, with the film's meaning not being induced, but rather derived, largely through Tyrrell's distinct style, which I will discuss later. The documentary also addresses a larger societal reality through the window of Tyrrell's own story, largely intergenerational silence and the generational cycle of abuse. Tyrrell's unique style has both expository and performative qualities, which offer entertainment, which in turn opens the viewer to a more meaningful experience. The use of animation helps Tyrrell fill visual gaps, given he has very little other creative material to work with, what Tyrrell calls creative limitation, and is a situation in which he feels he works best. We see it used in many of his other music videos and documentaries. Animation also helps Tyrrell keep his documentary light despite of the dark subject matter. The animation, however, is so much more than entertainment or a gap filler. Paul Ward discusses in his paper on animation in fiction that animation is a performative process that gives life to inanimate objects, which is exactly what Tyrrell needed to bring his dead father's possessions to life. While the film's narration appears objective, it is unavoidable that the use of animation, as Ward states, will mean that the audience knows the animator has intervened in a somewhat subjective way. Tyrrell does not reject objectivity with animation, but instead carefully crafts and adds meaning and feeling rather than supporting any one particular argument. His father's possessions are arranged against a white background, which seemed to be a metaphorical void for his memories. Like his fragmented memories, the objects are rearranged like puzzles as he searches for meaning in them and his conflicted feelings with his father. The objects suddenly convey powerful feelings and messages that perhaps actual footage could not give the audience a real insight into his mind. As he desperately attempts to find some answers through careful deconstruction and order, and as he looks for meaning in chaos, here metaphorically demonstrated by a jumble of black tape. Tyrrell also cleverly uses age-specific photo portraits to match the time of the memory and to assist the audience to understand events as the film moves forward and backwards in time. These are centered on a white background, which helps focuses the audience attention on the interviewee speaking, again in the absence of live footage. Subtitles are also used to help with storytelling. The animator Marty McPherson painstakingly animates the subtitles in the handwriting of the individual speaking. Again, in the absence of other more tangible material, the personalized and animated handwriting helps to give each family member more personality and life. The documentary contains a number of interviews with Tyrrell's siblings and mother. Only the interviewee is heard, which is consistent with the expository mode. To achieve a more conversational feel, however, Tyrrell purposely chose to withhold the fact that he was recording them, and thus their answers are very raw, honest, and unscripted. This tactic is more a characteristic of an observational documentary. The documentary narration is done by David Wayne. Again, Tyrrell actively sought out David Wayne, who is a comedian, to help make light of the emotions around death. Wayne's narration, however, is far from didactic and very much follows Charlie's deeply personal thought processes and feelings. Thus, while Tyrrell is not directly involved, as you would expect in a performative documentary, he is still very much a part of the storytelling. While originally he planned to tell the story in first person, he decided that having a third-person narration would allow him to tell his story more objectively, whilst not appearing emotionally overindulgent. It was also a way around his natural shyness. Tyrrell draws on qualities from the expositional mode to make the film more objective, while using the performative mode qualities to give it both depth and also whilst being entertaining. To both these modes, he adds his own ingenious style that helps him and the audience to literally and figuratively work through the complex feelings around family relationships.